It's a somber opening to our city council meeting today because we are going to actually ask our firefighters, anyone that's in the fire department, to come up and join me, including Chief Carlson. I think some of the honor guards are going to come up. Some have asked why in our community we have our flags currently at half staff, and I'm going to explain that in a moment, but there was a firefighter that was fighting a wildland fire in Montana who lost his life, and he's from California. And so the governor gave discretion to cities to lower their flags at half staff. And so we decided as the city of Turlock, I spoke with the city manager, and we lowered our flags in solidarity with that firefighter who lost his life. Partly because we, as a city, send our own personnel into harm's way when they fight wildland fires. And we currently have Captain Kane Packwood in Montana fighting those fires. So I'm going to read this proclamation in honor of fallen firefighter Brent Witham. Whereas the city of Turlock honors fallen firefighter Brent Witham, who courageously sacrificed his life by protecting others while battling the Lolo Peak wildfire. And whereas Brent Witham was a 6-year veteran of the U.S. Forest Service and a member of the Vista Grande hotshot crew stationed at the San Bernardino National Forest since 2015. And whereas hotshot firefighters are among the most highly trained and experienced ground crews in the wildfire force and are often the initial attack force, hiking into remote fire locations. And whereas fire personnel deploy because of their expertise, experience, and knowledge of emergency public service and play an essential role in the protection of lives and property in every community. And whereas the city of Turlock is committed to sending its own firefighters to assist communities throughout the country to fight wildfires, of which these same communities would come to our aid in times of need. Whereas the city of Turlock has currently deployed its own firefighter to fight alongside men and women from all parts of the country to protect Montana. And whereas the loss of firefighter Brent M. Witham is a loss not only felt by the communities of San Bernardino and Montana, but here in the city of Turlock as well. And whereas the city of Turlock recognizes the deep bond among firefighters as they fight wildfires together. And whereas to reflect this deep bond, with the permission of the President of the United States or the Governor of California, the city of Turlock will lower its flags to half staff whenever a firefighter's life is lost during the same period the city's own brave firefighters are also deployed. Now, therefore, I, Gary Soyseth, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Turlock, and on behalf of the entire city council and all our citizens, do hereby recognize fallen firefighter Brent Witham. Give a round of applause for coming out. Thanks. Absolutely. All right, in honor of National Health Center Week, August 13th through 19th, 2017. Whereas for over 50 years, community health centers have provided high-quality, affordable, comprehensive primary and preventive health care in our nation's underserved communities, delivering value to and having a significant impact on America's healthcare system. And whereas health centers are locally controlled by patient majority boards, ensuring that the patients of each health center are engaged in their own healthcare decisions. Whereas Golden Valley Health Centers continues to prove an effective means of overcoming barriers to healthcare access, including geography, language, income, and insurance status, and in doing so, improves healthcare outcomes and reduces healthcare system costs. And whereas Golden Valley Health Centers reduces overall cost of care by managing chronic conditions and keeping patients out of costlier healthcare settings. And whereas National Health Center Week offers the opportunity to recognize America's health centers, their dedicated staff, board members, and all those responsible for their continued success. During this National Health Center Week, we celebrate the 45th anniversary of Golden Valley Health Centers and the vital role they play in the well-being of our community. Now, therefore, I, Gary Soyseth, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Turlock, and on behalf of the entire city council and all our citizens, do hereby proclaim August 13th through 19th, 2017 as National Health Center Week in the city of Turlock. Congratulations. Yeah. Absolutely. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, Juana was ill today, so my name is Mary Michael Rawling, sorry. And I'm the Director of Government Affairs for Golden Valley Health Centers. But I did want to thank the Mayor for coming to our grand opening of our health center in West Turlock last Wednesday, and to the City Council and to the city for your certificate of recognition at that event. We have expanded our facility on West Main Street to include dental now, as well as expanded our medical staff to include specialty such as pediatrics and podiatry along with family practice. We also have another center on Olive Avenue, and we serve with all of our 5 medical and 2 dental care providers about 10,000 patients roughly in the city of Turlock right now, and we know that there's still so much more need and demand. And we're interested in opening more locations here in Turlock. So I know we're looking at additional facilities in the near future. So we just look forward to continuing the partnership with the city and doing what we can to help your residents, your constituents, in meeting their primary health care needs. So if you need us, don't hesitate to call, and our doors are open to anyone, regardless of their ability to pay or any coverage they have or don't have. That's one of the benefits and beauties of being a community federally qualified health center. So thank you so much, and have a great evening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Katie Quintero, come on up. Where is she? Come on, give her a round of applause. This is an exciting one. Congratulations. All right. Katie is our July 2017 Employee of the Month. So let's give her a round of applause again. You deserve it. Absolutely. So I get to read all the cool accolades, which is 2 pages long. This is good stuff. I like this. All right. Katie was nominated for her positive attitude, dedication to customer service, and her willingness to take on new challenges. Katie is widely recognized as a leader in planning and technology. Katie's managers and coworkers seek her counsel and recognize her leadership skills in addressing both the day-to-day and the long-term strategic needs of the department. She's always looking for ways to improve business processes and has taken the time to learn more about what others do in order to improve coordination. She's all about finding solutions, not problems, to help residents and businesses achieve their goals. She's committed to providing high-quality customer service and excels in providing a high-quality product that will have lasting improvements on the community. While Katie certainly excels in her everyday planning functions, it is her willingness to take on a very special and difficult project that has led to her nomination. In 2009, Katie became the project manager for the implementation of a new permit tracking software for the city called New World Community Development Software. Transitioning to the new software was necessary due to the outdated computer software developed in the early 90s that was no longer being supported by today's computer systems. Perhaps more importantly, it was necessary to move the Development Services Department into a new age of financial management, communication, and accountability in the planning, building, and engineering permitting process. With her help, other departments have also come on board to improve the sharing of information about properties so that residents and businesses have access to more information. Katie's abilities have also been recognized by Tyler Technologies, who now owns and develops the New World software. There are only a handful of cities that are using New World for development permit tracking, Turlock being one of the first and most active users. Due to her expertise in applying their software in a real-world situation, Katie was asked to serve on a nationwide technical advisory committee to provide feedback on improving the software and to give several presentations at their annual user conference. These presentations have helped other cities to better understand the capabilities of the New World software and allowed her to showcase the accomplishments of the Turlock New World application. Katie earned her BS in Community and Regional Development from UC Davis and her Master's in Public Administration from Stanislaus State. She has worked for the City of Turlock for 11 years in the Planning Division and is the TCEA Vice President. Her personal hobbies. Let's get into this, all right? Katie is married to Manuel, who also works for the City of Turlock as a Public Works Inspector. They have a 2-year-old daughter, Madison, who is very inquisitive and energetic and keeps Katie on her toes. Katie loves spending time with family and friends, working in her yard, golfing, and watching the San Francisco Giants. Finally, someone's got it right. I like this. Even when they don't have a winning season. I like it. All right, give her a round of applause, Katie. Congratulations. The microphone is yours.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the council for supporting the Employee of the Month program. It really is a great program, and it's a great honor to be named Employee of the Month. The City of Turlock is blessed with many fantastic employees, so there's stiff competition, that's for sure, in the Employee of the Month field. It's really a great honor. I'd like to thank Mike and Debbie as managers. They give all of us an opportunity to challenge ourselves and to grow in our professional careers, and I think that really brings out the best in all of us as employees, and we're very thankful for that. I'd like to thank my family for their support, and definitely all of my coworkers in the planning department. And they're all here, stayed late to be here, and I think that just shows the kind of teamwork and support that we have in the planning division. And really without all of that, the support for each other, the great communication that we have, I think we're very fortunate in planning, and I'm thankful for all of my coworkers. So thank you very much for this honor. I really appreciate it.
Very cool. Take your bio if you want now. Thanks. It is neat to see the coworkers all lining the back wall. I like it. Perfect. Let's move on to item D, Measure L Citizens Oversight Committee. Myself and Councilmember Esquer met and did some interviews, and we'd like to nominate Joel Bernard to the Measure L Citizens Oversight Committee.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, seconded by Councilmember Bublak. Clerk, please call the roll.
Appointing citizen Joel Bernard as the City of Turlock representative to the Measure L Citizens Oversight Committee. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. We have no special briefings. Staff updates. We don't have any policy goals and implementation plan updates, but administrative services, Marion Pitt, economic development.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I wanted to first mention that with the Joint Planning Commission City Council meeting, it is really truly a reflection of the team spirit of economic development in the city, and especially why we are noted in the region for doing it so well. As was mentioned in some of the project review of what the Planning Commission has dealt with, there was mentioned that Get Air out on West Main is open. Habit Burger and Countryside is also soft opening with a grand opening to come probably in the next 3 weeks. Hobby Lobby and Ten Pin are both actively under construction and for the most part are on schedule. And we're working with the shopping center owner and Stanislaus County on the tenant improvements on their new West Main location right next to the new expanded Golden Valley Center. And this project is still on schedule to have the county move in by Christmas. We have had several pre-development meetings on the vacant spaces in the downtown, so there is still a huge demand to make sure that all the downtown current vacant spaces are occupied and will be, I'm sure, in the next few months. The art space on Main is looking to move over into the First Street Frame Company site and adding both classroom and studio space in addition to gallery space, so the university will be holding classes actually on that site as well. And the marketing and branding consultants were here this past week, and we did 15 one-on-one meetings as well as 4 focus group meetings, including one with the hoteliers on quantifying who's staying in our hotels. We are following up with conference calls on those people that we couldn't meet with, and they will begin that next phase of data gathering and compilation. We have almost completed the community survey, and there will be an utility insert with a link to the survey that'll go out in the September utility bills to get cast a wide net with the community in terms of marketing and branding. And then lastly, I wanted to mention to basically in the open forum, the City of Turlock, Mayor and Council, we're having the City of Chowchilla and their Council and Planning Commission are coming here to Turlock to learn more about how we do it well. And we are helping them with a field trip and explaining on how we do specific plans and master planning and that sort of thing. And that they're interested in sort of learning from our best practices. So I think we figured out how to have council take a break and greet all of them as they get here off the bus and do that in between all the other things that you'll already be doing on Friday. So with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions or comments, Ms. Pitt? Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on, capital projects, building activity and transit, Mr. Pitcock. And feel free to roll right into Measure L planning.
I will
Lump
do
them all
that.
together.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. For the month of July, in the building side, we had 62 over-the-counter permits, 14 minor permits, and 11 traditional or the larger permits. 87 total, 87% were completed through the expedited plan checking process. We also did 368 inspections. And right now, we're working diligently with the fire department to try to get the Vistas student housing project open for business. So right now, we're just kind of crunching the last bit of things, details. It looks like they're going to have a successful opening. On the engineering side, obviously, we all know that the Folk Earth and Golden State is in construction, and the intersection is closed. Current activities are demolition work. They're also, the railroad's on site doing track work. And TID also has a contractor that's preparing to bore some conduit in an effort to underground utilities from the west side of the tracks all the way across to the transit center. The transit center building is in construction and it's ongoing. The current activities are right now all sub-slab, meaning all the utilities, the conduits and so forth are going under the slab with the foundation and slab work to be coming up shortly. Our slurry seal contractor has finished their slurries. We're now working with the subcontractor on the striping. We have also put out a change order to have some additional high visibility crosswalks put in, and actually for the Vista at the university, as well as the intersection of Christopherson and Walnut for the junior high. So there will be some activity. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get the work done this week as I'd hoped due to scheduling, but they're going to be hopefully mobilizing the week following, and they'll at least hopefully beat the CSUS opening. But unfortunately, the Turlock Junior High will be up and operational, so we'll have to work around their schedule. From the transit side, we've ordered the 4 new fixed route transit buses the council approved. We've also ordered the 20 new bus shelter units with advertisement capabilities. The plan is to add the new advertisement opportunities to our existing revenues to just try to build up our ability to meet the 20% fare box ratio that went into place effective last year. And then we also received 4 proposals for our next operator for transit. So we'll be evaluating those 4 proposals. We hope to be before you on September 26th with a recommendation. So we're moving forward to a transition or potentially the same contractor taking over at the end of November. On Measure L, we currently have staff working on the West Main project. They're trying to get the design completed. Our goal right now is to try to get it out to bid in October. And then we also have staff finalizing the scope of work on the Golden State project. What we're going to do with that project is ship it out to our outside consulting firms to do the design on that, to try to expedite this one. Municipal Services completed the review of all the utility work on Golden State and found that all utilities were in good working order. So that should expedite this project because there's a lot less work to have to be designed for. Following this, we're going to be working with Municipal Services on the East Avenue project. So they're going to be doing evaluation of the utilities on East Avenue. Once we have the information from Municipal Services, we'll again go out to our outside consultants to get the design completed. One of the reasons we're doing so much outside work is we're still having a very difficult time tracking or getting staffing. We've lost staffing. We're having a difficult time adding staffing. So we're going to have to shift gears a little bit. We're going to be doing more design outside and more project management in the meantime. So it's going to take a little bit of time to hopefully staff up. We're down right now, I think, 8 positions in development services between building and engineering. So we're having to use our outside resources a little bit more as we go through this defining time. I guess it's a very difficult time. So, any questions?
Questions for Mr. Pitcock? Yes, comments from the Vice Mayor.
I would be remiss, Mr. Pitcock, if I did not express my gratitude for the response of your department, Mr. York as well, with respect to the high visibility striping straddling Vista, and also now come to find out the junior high school. There has been numerous communications from the community with respect to concerns about those intersections with the high volume of students going to be transiting the area. We still do have a significant concern with respect to anyone, not just students, anyone crossing the street mid-intersection or mid-point between intersections. I think we may have found, we're certainly exploring ways to correct that situation as well. There's more news coming on that, I'm sure. But thank you for the effort. It occurred in a fairly short period of time, and and I trust that those concerns will be satisfied by those expressed.
I hopefully, in 2 weeks from now, we'll be looking at the finished product on the ground.
Thank you again.
Any additional questions? Just real quick, I heard, did I hear the Golden State, because of the utilities, seems to be an easier project?
It's a much easier project.
Do we need to
'cause-
be flipping those with West Main? Is it more complex? Does that make sense in order of?
Well, yeah, we'll put them both out to bid at the
Put 'em
same
out,
time
okay,
if
and see
if we
what
could.
happens.
Our current schedule, I believe, has Golden State being completed and ready for design in February.
Okay,
So it's a little bit behind.
Okay,
But
just-
again, we're gonna hopefully take advantage of the contractors ramping up for next year, so hopefully we'll get good bids.
got it.
We're hopeful that the contracting community ramps up with Measure L as well as SB1 that's coming forward. There's gonna be a whole lot more road work in this county and the California as a whole, so, you know, it's gonna be a lot of work. Hopefully they ramp up so we get competitive bid prices, but, right now, they're just full of work.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much. Chief Carlson, Public Safety Briefing.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council. This is your public safety briefing for the period of July 20 through August 2nd, so it's a shortened period from what you normally would see, and the number of calls I think will reflect that. Go through your packet on page 2, you'll have your table of contents. The next few pages after that, pages up until page 6, if you care to know the actual breakdown of every type of call we've had during that time, that'll be on those pages. Thank you. Page 6, you'll see a graph reflecting that. Through the 13-day period, we received 257 total 911 calls. Of those, we had 7 building fires. So 7 building fires in 13 days is a rather large number, added together with the heat we've experienced, made for some taxing times for our firefighters. 3 of the biggest of those fires actually occurred just outside the city limits, where we provided mutual aid or automatic aid, one to Turlock Rural Fire Protection and the other 2 to the city of Keys. We were actually first on scene, having seen the smoke column for the fire that occurred on Golden State and Gulf Road at that vacant residence just to the south of town. I don't know if you've seen the burned out shell of that house now. If you were to go ahead a couple other pages, as I'll get to, you'll see pictures of it. In addition, we had 15 vehicle collisions, and the other calls are listed on that pie chart there. You want to know the number of calls per district for each of your 4 districts that you represent. They're broken down on the next page. Followed by that, you'll see pictures of the fire as we responded to it in Keys and Gulf Road, and this is what we encountered as we got to the scene. So they were well involved by the time we got there, and the city of Keys actually experienced 2 fires of this magnitude within 24 hours. Another of the fires that we had in the last 13 days was a commercial building in the west. Firefighters made a quick attack on that fire, and it kept the damage to a minimum, and I believe the business is back open. Our OES engine 339 returned from its strike team assignments and is currently available. We are awaiting the next assignment as we go. We currently, as the mayor mentioned earlier, have 1 member still deployed on the strike team. He is in Montana near the fire that took firefighter Witham's life, and his timetable for return is still unknown. We're also seeing an uptick in heat-related medical emergencies lately, so we just want to remind everybody to stay hydrated as much as possible. In addition, operationally, we participated in the National Night Out, and between myself and our engine companies, our neighborhood services, we reached, I believe, almost every party that was out there. I know I ran into Councilmember DeHart there a few times.
Eating hot dogs.
Eating hot dogs. Wanted to thank you again for the the Stand Behind the Line ceremony that you had for us, and for PD and dispatch. It was very nice and humbling again. Also, pleased to announce that we'll be having a promotion soon, as one of our firefighters, Dale Meldon, will become an engineer. He actually has become an engineer as of August 1st. His promotional ceremony would be on the 21st, and we'll have details to follow on that. Whoops. In training, crews have been working on hazmat refresher training, pumping operations, bloodborne pathogens, and our squad personnel are continuing to work on their skills. It's a new program we started this year to tackle some of those high-risk, low-frequency calls to become better prepared to mitigate them. In prevention, and I'll talk about that more extensively in my next presentation, in the last 13 days, they've attended 9 pre-development meetings, 5 residential solar systems were inspected, 4 final inspections, 9 occupancies, as well as what you see there. So he's been very busy the last 2 weeks. In neighborhood services, completed a total of 510 various inspections throughout the community, and taken a total of 800 pounds of debris and trash to scavenger, and also have taken care of a lot of the graffiti that you see down below us here as well. And it's broken down further on the next page as well. Lastly, social media continues to grow. These last 2 weeks we've highlighted our participation in the strike teams and mutual aid events. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or take any direction that you may have.
Any questions or comments for Chief? No, I appreciate all your hard work, and I appreciate everyone coming out for the Stand Behind the Line ceremony. It was a great turnout, and I hope it symbolizes the community staying behind our fire, police, and dispatchers.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mayor.
All right. Yeah, moving into your second point.
Second point. So this update is a direct result of Councilmember Blueblack's questions regarding the fire prevention division that she had last time for us, and the succession planning we have in place for that, or lack thereof, for the fire marshal office. So bring your attention to your first page, a quick overview. This is a letter that was drafted by our interim city manager, then chief, in December to address the situation. In the fire department, we're pretty lucky as far as succession planning. The day a firefighter starts, he's immediately learning from his crews. So firefighters learn to be engineers, engineers learn to be captains, captains learn to be battalion chiefs. And it just works that way, much as it does in law enforcement, seamlessly all the way up. Where we find that there's a breakdown, and is drafted in that letter, is at the division chief level. We have 3 divisions: operations, training, and prevention. What I want to draw your attention to is the prevention, which is the fire marshal's office. The fire marshal is the leader and the core of our prevention. And as of today, there is nobody in the department that I feel comfortable that could take the place of Chief Gomez. We have a definite disconnect in that division. It's just such a specialized division. Firefighters don't train for it. It's a completely different branch on the tree. And I'll show you why. These are some of the fire marshal assignments. They're not like normal firefighter suppression assignments. They excuse me. Some of the occupancy, they do occupancy inspections, pre-construction meetings, photovoltaic inspections, fire alarm testing. They work hand in hand with our engineering and building department on a lot of projects that you hear every time we have a council meeting. School inspections. He's also in charge of our fire investigation unit. It goes on and on. The next slide shows a list of the meetings and the commitments that our current fire marshal has. And I went back, you asked for, I think, 6 months. I went back for the last 3 years as best I could find. And these are the number of commitments that he has just scheduled. And this doesn't list all the other things that pop up, investigations, things like that. I want to highlight the one on the bottom, the engine company inspections. You'll see a decline in the engine company inspections. That's not because we have had less inspections. That's because, as you'll see in the next upcoming slides, he needs to review them. We put them into the system, and it's just one of those things that is paperwork that's fallen a little behind the wayside due to staffing levels. So 2008, this was what our fire prevention division looked like. We had a fire marshal, part-time secretary, which helped with some inputting of those numbers. The apprentice position you see was actually Chief Gomez. Now he was apprenticing with the Fire Marshal Chief McDaniel at the time, and that's how he learned the position because we have no deputy fire marshal. And at the time, we also had 2 inspectors. So we had a good prevention division in 2008. Flash forward to today, that's what we look like today. And I'm just saying, we understand what happened in 2008 and everything. We had retirements, and it just got more difficult. You had to make hard choices. Definitely understand that. We're not complaining. I just did that to point out what it is today. The duties haven't changed. The commitment level hasn't changed. So instead of having the 5 people, we have 1. The next slide. This is so under the fire marshal, we also have neighborhood services under the prevention division. The green you see are the positions that we have staffed. So we have a fairly good number of neighborhood services staffing. The red, what you see are the positions that the fire marshal must also pick up because we don't have staffing, so it falls to him. So that's what we look like as our past, present, and what we hope to be ideal at some time. I'm sorry, I won't go there yet. So to ask what we would need to get our fire prevention back up to what I hope you would want it to be, I mean, is personnel. And what you would get if we were able to add personnel, Councilmember Bublak, on average, according to our fire marshal, it takes 48 hours to schedule one of his inspections. With the addition of just 1 other person, we could cut that to 24 hours. Emergency inspections could be done faster. Plan reviews that take 4 to 6 weeks by him would be cut to 2 to 4 weeks. We would emphasize faster customer service, not better customer service, because we do provide great customer service, but it would be faster. So that, I was always, I think I laid a lot of problems on you right now. I was always told not to just give problems without trying to give some solutions. So we sat down and looked over a high overview of what we have in our budget, and I just wanted to highlight a couple lines that we were able to see contracted out. And last year that cost us $17,000, whereas if we had additional personnel, we could cut that to almost nothing, which would result in another $10,000 to $15,000. So although it won't get you all the way there, just in our own budget, we could probably save about $35,000 towards the cost if you were to look at adding to the fire prevention division. And again, long term, like I said, we don't really have a successor to Fire Marshal Gomez, so it's something that we are looking at and trying to figure out a way to, I know you've had questions about that before, a way to solve that problem. So at this point, I just would be looking for any questions or direction, or that you would have me go back to research. Also have our fire marshal here to answer any technical questions or anything that I may not have the answers to for you.
First, I want to thank you, and secondly, Mark, I want to make sure you know that this isn't my attack on you. It's that I realize you're only one person, and this is a big city now, and we need to have more than one person doing a job so that we can take some of that stress off of you, and you can also have some time with your family. Had I had an opportunity to see this a little bit longer, I could probably marinate and have some more ideas. The things that come to mind, I think I'd probably want to check into before I start just spewing out comments. But I think this is great. I think we have to do something because this is also affecting our service level of businesses and all these things of buildings. So it's all synergistic, and I think it's an important faction. And I'm sure that there's something we can talk about offline and figure out how to come up with something immediate, and then hopefully forecast it out. But thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. We're going to be having a robust discussion about the budget coming up in September, October timeframe with the new city manager. So I think that's good you did the work up front because this is a question. I think this is the very first time I've seen a org chart with one box on it. So thank you for the drama that you brought into this, Chief Carlson. Your point is made. Thank you. Fire Marshal, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Fire Marshal, do you have anything to add? We can talk offline. You come on up, since we talked about your position without you.
Your box.
Go easy on us.
I know, yeah.
The only thing I really have to add is I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be working at the city of Turlock. I know it's been challenging for the last several years in this position, but I know you realize that we can't just do it with one person, and I do my best. We have a lot of construction going on and a lot of businesses that need attention, and I just feel if we had more staffing, we would provide much better service to them. So I just want to thank you for your time as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Fire Marshal. Yeah, I agree. Muni services. What's that?
Does the interim city manager have an idea?
We'll get to him later. Yeah, that works. Muni services, SRWA Surface Water Project. Director Cook.
Good evening, Mayor Soyseth, members of the council. I'd like to give you an update on the Regional Surface Water Supply Project because last Thursday, the board of the Stansels Regional Water Authority met. As you know, the SRWA is a joint powers authority between the city of Turlock and the city of Ceres, and two of the board members are here tonight, the mayor and Councilmember Bublak, and they have the mayor of Ceres and a councilmember of Ceres, Councilmember Lane. So I want to give you an update. At that time, they unveiled the initial capacity of the project, the estimated cost of the project, and a real rough overview of the impact to rates to the both communities. And this is a good opportunity to keep you and the public informed of that. And so why are we doing this project? Just to step back, we're 100% reliant on groundwater right now. Groundwater quality is getting worse. Groundwater levels are declining. And we're facing increasingly stringent regulations from the state of California. What does that mean? The cost to sustain with groundwater only is increasingly expensive and also less reliable than it's ever been. So these are the things that have been driving the project for really more than 30 years, but really come into focus in the last 4 or 5. So if you've seen this map before, and I shared this with the board last Thursday, the red dots represent the wells we've had over the years that are out of service. The 17 green ones are the ones we have in active service right now. I made the mistake of saying it's like whack-a-mole. Every time we get a new well, we lose another one. But in some respects, it is the analogy that does make sense. It's very hard to sustain a well field because you're continually losing wells due to quality or supply issues. And just to give you some examples of the last few years, these are the wells we've lost since 2009 for various contaminants, so nitric, arsenic, PC, bacteria, and other things. And then, as I mentioned with the last council meeting in 2018, new regulations will go into effect on trichloropropane, which could affect 30 to 40% of our wells. So we're facing an increasingly difficult time. And what are we doing to address that? Well, in the short term, we're working on some well rehabilitation projects. One has been successful, the green one over there, well 32, to address nitrates, and then 3 more are being worked on right now to deal with arsenic issues. So we're making some interim fixes, and we have hopefully some success there to get those 3 wells back up to 20 wells will be good for the city of Turlock. We're also working on some longer term projects to add new wells to our supply system, because even with the surface water project that won't be online for a few years, we need to address that. So we have 3 monitoring wells going in. Hopefully they will result in 3 new wells and then some test holes to better understand the aquifer as we go forward. So these things we're doing in the short term, but the longer term solution really is an additional supply from the Tuolumne River, which will improve water quality, diversify our supply portfolio, make our groundwater aquifer more sustainable, as we'll be pumping less and hopefully recharging that during the wet years and relying on that in the drier years. Allow us to be more flexible in how we operate our system. And also there are some environmental benefits. The river will allow increased flows in the Tuolumne River, working with the Turlock Irrigation District. So that's also a benefit there. The project involves these components, an intake in the river, a treatment plant, transmission mains to the 2 cities, and then a local facility improvements like storage tanks and new pipelines. And just if you're like me, you're a picture person, the proposed project is near the Foxgrove fishing access near Houston there, and that road in the middle is a gear road bridge crossing the Tuolumne River. So the infiltration gallery is where the water comes out of the river. It'll be transmitted over to a bluff above the Foxgrove Park where the water treatment plant could be built, and we'll treat the water to drinking water standards. And then from there, 2 pipelines, one west to Ceres and then one south to Turlock. So that's a lot of infrastructure, which means it's going to cost some money. So the preliminary estimates from the engineer, the SOW hired, is this. So the total project cost is $288 million. Ceres is looking at $100 million. The city of Turlock 182, and then Turlock Irrigation District, which will get some of the water from the river will be discharged into the Ceres main canal. So they'll use that for irrigation purposes. So they have a stake in the project too. So those are the overall project costs. How does that affect rates? This is a high-level rate analysis that's been done. The council, your last meeting, hired a rate consultant to dig deeper. But as you can see over time, if you look at the top line, in 2022 when the plant opens, bills will go from about $42 right now up to $77, so about a $6 increase per year. The bottom line represents a real estimate by staff of if we stay with just groundwater and try to kind of white knuckle it through on a groundwater system only, what would that cost? And that's about $50 to $52 at the same point in time. So it's about a $25 difference or premium of building the drinking water plant. So again, those cost impacts are assumed all in, the total capital costs, of state financing at 2%, and includes the operation and maintenance expenses as much as we know them at this time. The group working on this, West Yost Associates and the staff from the 2 cities as well as the board members are working very hard at the state and federal level to find other sources of funding, whether lower interest loans, grants, other opportunities to reduce the cost. And those are some of the ones that were listed at that last meeting. And strangely enough, one of the state water board members was here in attendance. She's a Turlock resident and brought with her 2 staff members from the state water board who work on financial assistance, and basically stood at the podium and said, whatever I can do to help you to reduce the cost of this project, I'd be willing to do. So that was good news too. So we're hopeful that the rates, that snapshot rates we presented tonight, would be the higher level as we drive down the cost of the project and work on other sources of funding. We could reduce the cost or the impact of the ratepayers as much as possible. This is the project schedule. We started last year, and hopefully the project will be we'll start construction in 2020 and be operational in 2022. So that's basically it. I just want to give the community an update, and obviously the main impact as we move forward over the next 4 to 5 months is doing a more detailed rate analysis, looking at rate structure, and then working with the city council if that makes sense to proceed to move ahead with that process and adopt those rates so the project can proceed. So I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Yeah, Councilmember Bublak.
Mr. Cook, I apologize, I had just a little tropical slip for a moment, I was gone. But did you share with everybody about the fact that we're trying to bring in other communities and how that might benefit us as well?
No, I didn't. But we're calling this a regional surface water supply project. Turlock and Ceres are the main partners at this time, but we've also been talking to other cities like Houston, smaller communities like Keys and Denair, Hillmar, others who may be interested. So we're interested in who can we bring on a regional basis to help them with their water supply issues and truly make this a regional facility that benefits the entire service area of the Turlock Irrigation District from river to river.
Any additional questions or comments from the council? This is a topic that will be brought back up. Mr. Truweiler, I know that you have for public comment, but if you wanted to comment on water and water conservation now, you can, or you can wait till public comment.
I'm going to wait until public comment.
All right, perfect. All right, well, thank you so much, Director Cook. Appreciate it. All right, Parks, Recreation, and Public Facilities, Director Van Gilder.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a very quick update for you regarding the 1,000 Flags campaign. As you may recall, the mayor encouraged his fellow council members to post and submit pictures of their flags.
It's called public humiliation.
Is that, I didn't want to, I was trying to be gentle, Mayor. And so we do have some pictures to share along with mayor and council members' pictures. We also have some local businesses who have jumped on board with the campaign, and you may have noticed that we've also given them their recognition via our Facebook page. And so we're hoping that that sparks a little more let's say friendly competition or excitement about other businesses and residents participating in the program. So I will share those pictures with you real quick. We have here Mayor Soyseth posting up his flag. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor Bill DeHart's picture here of his flag flying. And Councilmember Matthew Jacob. Thank you so much for that, and we're excited about posting other pictures as we receive them as well. As I mentioned, we have other locations where are now flying the flag where we weren't previously, and when we did our quick inventory of all of our city facilities, it was a little surprising to me. We did not have a flag at Pedretti, and so we actually had one that Little League puts up for games, but they put it up and take it down as needed. But you know, the big question was, why don't we have a flag there? So we made sure that we got that on our to-do list. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done. It was a partnership with between our park maintenance staff out at Pedretti, as well as our electrical crew over at Municipal Services, by putting in the lighting for the flag. And so now I think we have a very patriotic symbol at that facility that we can be proud of. Just another example of some of our other city facilities that are flying the flag.
Very cool.
And actually, this was our very first business to register. That you'll recognize that as Baldwick's Quick Smog. We are very appreciative of their support of the program, and you'll see that this participation has sparked a variety of different businesses through town to post their flag and also register it on site. So we're very excited. Since the last meeting, our number is now up to 621 flags registered. Again, I will say that if you don't want to take the step to register your flag and you want to just pick up the phone and call our office, we are happy to do that for you. Email us, call us, whatever you want to do. We just need an address and we'll be happy to register your flag. But we would love pictures too, because then we can put them into presentations like this or on our Facebook page. Only 94 days left till Veterans Day, so we're eager to get our numbers up there. Any questions?
Any questions? Yes, Councilmember Bublak.
Comments. First, I'm a diva, so when I do a puzzle, I want to put the last piece in, so I'm kind of waiting that one out.
it.
But per the mayor's initiative and push, I spoke with the Army and for the branch of Northern California, and you'll have to help me because I don't swear, but HE Double Toothpicks, yeah, they do this thing online. And so they'll be posting that about Turlock and about them putting it on, and it'll have the link as well, since he wanted it. So.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And it's those partnerships that we're really counting on, so I thank you for doing that. I see that we have a couple of scouts in the audience, and so maybe through your connections and resources, we'd love to partner on that. It's really just spreading the word about the program. I think we can look out, and I said this last time, there's lots of flags in the community. I just think that we haven't taken it to the next step of registering it, but maybe through all those encouraging efforts, we can increase that number to hit 1,000.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments? All right. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think that we're inching our way there. I will be making the rounds to the after-school programs when school gets back in to talk about the importance of our Million Acts of Kindness initiative, but also 1,000 flags. So talk to the young people about talking to their parents about getting that flag out there so that we can push past 1,000. So thank you so much to all your staff.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
And your hard work. Moving on, Police Department, Pet of the Month, Ms. Jackson. You have big shoes to fill. Last time was pretty rowdy. Yeah.
I trained her.
Yeah.
just for the record. I've mellowed out with age, can I say that? Just trying to find my report here. Thank you. Again, thanks for having this. It's been over a year since this has been, we were presenting this Pet of the Month, and it's been an awesome program for us, and is helping save animals' lives. Again, the Pet of the Month is sponsored by T-MAPS. For those of you who are not aware of that, the professional management team from the Turlock Police Department cover the cost of spay, neuter, microchip, the first vaccine, rabies shot, and a license for City of Turlock residents for the adoption fee. So these are free pets for the public. Last month, this is Zeus. My staff thought I was crazy when I picked a large dog, but I assured them it would happen. And this happens to be the son-in-law of our firefighter who was Pet of the Month last month. He saw the presentation at council and he showed up the next morning very eager. And Zeus is fitting in very well with his family. He was excited to get this dog. This is Molly. I'm introducing you Molly. She's our September Pet of the Month. She's quite the diva. Councilman Bluebot wanting a dog there. She's a little terrier mix. She's 2 years old. You know, something about the dogs, they just love people. So she'd like to be taken to your home. So this month we're having a special in September. Now, just to let you know, August promotion is still in effect. We are still doing the Summer Tan special through the month of August. For September, on the 16th, on that singular day, we are having a rabies clinic at the animal shelter. Anyone who comes in as a City of Turlock resident, for their dogs only, we are offering a free rabies vaccine. So for that day, we have a veterinarian that's actually coming on site that will be able to facilitate getting those rabies shots done for our public. Again, the Turlock Animal Shelter is located at 801 South Walnut, and we're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 2. And in closing, I just want to let you know that our involvement with the Trixie story is going to be in Women's World magazine. That's going on sale in 2 days.
Nice.
So City of Turlock will be featured in that. We're very happy to be a part of that, and that we do check in with her every couple of weeks or months to see how she's doing to keep that going with our community.
Very cool.
Thank you for having us.
No, thank you so much. How does Molly do with tortoises? How does Molly do? Pretty good?
You can come and try it out.
I know.
Take her
I think
home for a
this is
visit.
good. Exactly.
We'd be happy to accommodate that.
All right. Thank you so much. Your hard work is much appreciated.
Thank you.
Chief MFR.
Mayor, council members, our audience, community members. Glenna does an outstanding job, and so does the rest of her staff out there, and I appreciate all the hard work they put forth. For our community members, I have our staff report back there. If you'd like a copy, we'll also put it on the screen for you. This report was rushed a little bit because there's only one council meeting this month, so I had our staff rush to put it together, so I'm sorry for getting it to you in the middle of the meeting for you to review, but I'll try to cover things as we progress. If you look at department statistics for July 2016 versus July 2017, it's an interesting one I wanted to point out because of the discussion that was at council, and we've had several discussions regarding the fireworks that are going on, not only in the meetings, but also on social media. So for July versus 2016 and 17, you'll see fireworks violations actually decreased this year in regards to the calls we were receiving. But what's interesting about it, I will tell you, I saw the fireworks and they were better this year. I'm not talking about CSUS either. I don't know where they were getting those fireworks, but it was amazing. So we're going to be addressing that. Vice Mayor DeHart, we're working on some things with fire, and police are going to work together. So looking at year to date for 2016, January through July versus 2017, you'll see we've had increases in regards to suspicious persons. We had a 10% increase in those type of calls. From disturbances, we're also showing an increase. And disturbances others, we've shown a decrease. So moving on to our burglary types. Once again, we have the July through 2016 versus 2017. And you'll notice increases in the auto burglaries along with residential burglaries just from month to month. But when you look at the year to year, you do see the decrease in the auto burglaries and a substantial decrease in the residential burglaries. Commercial burglaries, as I've stated before, there is an anomaly there because of the dental burglaries we had early on, but you'll see that number is continuously coming down. It's at 15% now. And burglary others are plus 29%. You will look over to the other side and you'll see a plus 250% on that burglary other. But if you look at the actual numbers, July 2016 there were 2, July 2017 there are 7. And those are not residentials, those are more of your sheds and so forth that they're breaking into now. You'll look at the graph, and we put that in a graph format. Our arrests for July 2016 versus July 2017, we have had a decrease of about 8%. We still have 9 reports out, but that's not going to really increase it very much more. Our response times, if you'll look, year to date, 2016, we had 387 calls for a priority 1 response of 7 minutes 4 seconds. 2017, year to date, 484 calls, which is an increase of 25% in calls, which caused the priority 1 increased time of looks like 4 seconds, which is a plus 1%. Top 3 calls for your districts. District 1, as it indicates, suspicious person, extra patrol and follow-up. District 2, disturbance, suspicious person, and trespassing. District 3 and District 4 are almost identical, with number 1 being the fireworks violations, and then the disturbances and suspicious persons. Moving on to the next page, calls for service. July 2016 versus July 2017, we're almost 500 calls above. July 2016, we had 4,040. 17, we're at 4,558 calls for service. Year to date, January through July for 2016 versus 2017. 2017 is 28,214 calls for service, an 8% increase. Self-initiated calls, this is the interesting one. This is available time for the officers, which we hope to have around 30 to 35% available time for an officer, which is ideal. We don't have that available time. We're down to about 8 to 9%. But you'll see from the statistics as to why. Besides staffing levels at the current rate of 2007, you'll see our year-to-date, we're 33,736 self-initiated calls. That's everything that the officer sees besides what's called in, and that's a 6% increase. So the officers are out there, and they're keeping their eyes open and are handling what they can handle between the calls for service. Citations issued, you'll notice we have a 28% decrease showing for the year-to-date, but that is better than it was last year. Once again, we just went through the fair, and with only 2 traffic officers and 1 traffic sergeant, the patrol has kicked in, and they're helping out with it, so it's getting better. The graphs will show your monthly service demands and how they're broken down, and year-to-date service demands and how they're broken down. And I'll switch that so our public can see it for those that don't have copies. I want to move on to special deployments. Our tip line has received 55 tips for the year 2017, January through July. All of them have been addressed. For July, we received 5, and all of them have been resolved. What's interesting is our Turlock Narcotics Enforcement Team, you'll see there, assisted the Stanislaus County Auto Theft Task Force. So they were just assisting them because we had no one else to send to help them. But they were able to conduct a surveillance of a stolen vehicle, conduct a stop, high-risk stop, and from that resulted in 20 pounds of methamphetamine and over $80,000 in cash, asset forfeiture taken, with 2 subjects arrested. That's a big deal. With the crimes being reduced of possession of methamphetamine and heroin to misdemeanors, that amount is a felony. It's sales. So that's a big deal. I would like to point out Animal Services, which we just spoke about, has done 94 residential visits for proactive license enforcements. It's sad to say that the majority, that we have a high non-compliance with licensing, and the issue for that is your dogs don't have the rabies shots, because part of licensing we ensure that. So when a kid gets bit or someone gets bit, it's really dangerous, because if you don't have that rabies shot, you're really putting yourself at risk and the general public. So I want to commend them for the work they're doing there. Animal Services also assisted Mariposa County in regards to the Detweiler fire. We sent an individual up and helped them with quite a few animals. They were very appreciative of that, and I thank our staff for doing that. We talked about National Night Out, huge event for the police department, and I appreciate all of staff, fire, council, and all of the police staff. It was the largest turnout for the police department regarding staff. I had more police officers and detectives out than we actually had working a beat. So it was great. We got to meet everyone at every one of the National Night Outs. So moving on, social media. working with Turlock Unified School District, CSUS, you should have noticed within the last 2 weeks the media blowing up in regards to putting out safety notifications for school starting up, crosswalks, paying attention, texting, etc. So we're really pushing that very hard. Back to school safety, heat stroke prevention. We've been putting out National Night Out event, motorist safety, and we continue to do that. Our Facebook is now at 9,762. We have over 100,000 followers and hits, so it's exploding on us. Part 1 crimes I've listed in here. We are still running for year to date 9% below last year, which we finished with a 4% reduction in crime. Top 3 Part 1 crimes, you'll see that larceny year to date is still the number 1 versus 2016. We're running a -2%, but again, we have not come into the holiday seasons where I expect that number to climb. And then you'll see the chart in regards to that. Sorry folks, I'm not good at the PowerPoint thing. Moving on to the last page, Councilmember Blueblack, you asked for stats on accidents, so here they are. So I want to go through this because it's extremely important. Traffic accidents that the police department handles, we handle a lot. For the month of July 2016 versus 2017, we've had a 39% increase. Total accidents for just the month of July, we responded to 97. 41 of them injury accidents, 53 non-injury accidents, and 3 private property. When the police department responds to these accidents, we respond to assist in emergency medical services. Along with fire, we assist with traffic control, we secure the scene, and we're there for up to several hours afterwards conducting our traffic investigations. Some of those go on to be criminal complaints. The Fulkerth accident where the 2 juveniles in the car were struck and suffered catastrophic injuries, that has gone to the district attorney for a criminal complaint. So we're waiting for the district attorney to let us know whether they're going to file on that or not. So it's really important that our citizens know that when we respond to these accidents, we're there to investigate, and we're there for several hours sometimes. But if you look at what was interesting, I also had added in there because it's important, and it goes with council's policies, implementation plan where council is looking to expand staff. You'll notice that our population of 72,050, which was July 2016, and we've recently gone up to 72,879, with our current staff levels, puts us at 1.07 officer per 1,000. So it's extremely important when we look at that. Pedestrian accidents, for 2017, we've had 4 versus none in 2016, 400% increase. We broke down the accidents also to include bicycles. We've had 2 this year. That's still a 100% increase. Fatal accidents for this year, 2017, we have 0. 2016 versus 2017 has not changed. Unsafe turning movements and speed continue to be the primary collision factor. With that, any questions I can answer for Mayor or Council?
Yes, but Councilmember Blueblack.
Just want to thank you for putting that extra in there. I hated doing traffic, but it's such a laborious effort, and I so every officer everybody needs to know how much time it takes once you get out there. You don't just go, okay, move off the streets, let's go. That you got to do reports and measurements and all that, follow up at the hospital. So I appreciate you putting that in there, and everybody in your department and everybody within the community. National Night Out was a great success. It was a good time, and I appreciate everybody's work on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Chief, and this is, I'm going to steal the thunder, but I think Vice Mayor and I share the same wavelength on this, but the pedestrian accidents go from 11 to 22 year to date. With school coming up, what is the action plan, if any, with the increase in our student population, young all the way through college?
So you've mentioned the action plan, and Mike Bidcock brought up some of the comments in regards to the safety intersections, especially the Turlock Junior High one. But we also have our traffic units involved, and they will be attending the schools individually with 2 traffic officers. I've also asked the sergeant to be involved. We've put out messaging signs. We're doing our social media. We're working with TUSD along with CSUS to get the information out to all of the students and their parents. I'll be doing a media TV presentation with the Turlock Unified School District, and that'll be being pushed out. We've asked the site team, which is the regional citation team, to come in. They'll be here on the 23rd, so we'll have an influx of officers here from all over the county issuing citations. So please, if you choose that day, Victor, please drive safely. Our patrol units are also very much aware of the school sites and the days that the schools are opening. So we're putting every available resource to bear on that, along with the educational processes. So will that be enough? No. No, it won't.
Yeah. No, you hit on it. It's a multi-pronged effort, I think, from Director Pitcock's area. Obviously, looking at environmental design, making sure our people are safe, our residents are safe as they cross our streets. But I think the enforcement aspect is very important as well, and I'm curious to see some of the stats on citations and what is issued in that time period compared to last year specifically. I think education, you're going to be hitting that which is really key, so I appreciate it. I have a feeling you have a comment to add on this one.
What do you think?
I just assumed this is something you've
And just to add, Mr. Mayor, we have 2 school resource officers that will be working both those school sites, Pittman High and Turlock Junior High, or Turlock High School. Turlock High School also has Julian Elementary. And their presence there is for the school site safety, but they also will be issuing parking citations for those parents who choose to stop in the middle of the road and let their children out. So they will be taking a zero tolerance on that. If they see it, they'll be issuing a citation. The problem with that is you're going to continue to back traffic up when that happens, but it's got to be give and take. And we can educate and educate, but at some point there has to be accountability.
Assumption of personal responsibility, I think, is one topic that's extremely uncomfortable for all of us. But you can talk to pretty much anybody in this room, and if they have really paid attention, just driving down to City Hall this afternoon, 2 vehicles just blew through red lights. And not just 1 red light, but 2. And the second vehicle, 3. And I just couldn't get my camera out fast enough. But the reality is that we have, for whatever reason, got ingrained in us that we've got to get somewhere first. And if we're headed to work, I don't understand that concept. Why is it, you know what I mean? It's kind of difficult.
City employees. There's a strict start time, and actually,
another 20 seconds or another minute or another 2 minutes en route to the office is not too much to tolerate unless you're 5 minutes late, and then it's too late anyway. But when I stop and I consider the fact that we're hitting civilians, we're hitting bicyclists, we're hitting wheelchair-bound individuals, when I hear we're hitting all sorts of buildings and so on and so, fire hydrants, traffic signal boxes, I mean, is it worth it? It's just not worth it for the extra speed and blowing through stop signs. Making illegal right turns, you've cited those things here. Please, folks, slow down. Yeah. It doesn't pay. And the life you save may be somebody else's. It could be your own. But the toll that's taken when somebody else is struck is just overwhelming. And it's just not worth the extra speed. Let's pay attention. Let's slow down and arrive. Not just happy, but arrive.
Arrive, get there safe. And I appreciate your comments, and I just want to add for July, a total of 500 citations was issued between the 2 traffic officers and the patrol officers. So combining those 2 for a short month and fair, that they're out there doing what they can. And we're going to continue to do what we can, and I know council is very serious about this. In September, end of September, we'll be coming back with a report on the traffic committee and some of the ideas we have. You'll soon be seeing here also an OTS grant that we've been awarded for some money to pay for overtime. While if I don't have the staffing, I'm not going to be able to fill it, but the bottom line is it's money, and we're going to try to put it to use as best as possible. And as the mayor said, in October, we're going to be talking more about the budgeting, and in that budget was 2 additional traffic officers, along with a lot of other things we need to talk about. Because the bottom line is we're set, what are we, going to 78,000? And we have exactly what we had 10 years ago in staffing levels. And we're doing the best we can. We're not going to give up, and we're going to get creative as much as possible. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Chief. I appreciate it. Oh, yes, Councilmember Esquer, I'm sorry.
I have to chime in here a little
Absolutely.
bit because I'm on the roads every day. I'm in town. I see the same things that Mr. DeHart sees. It's accountability, and I know you guys are out there. I see the reports. I see your officers all over town trying to keep up. But it is, the citizens have to help out here. It's a joint, it has to be a joint effort. I see the people running the red lights. I see the people talking on their phones, the distractions while they're driving. I don't know how else to try to help the situation. I see the bicycles darting out in front of traffic. To tell you the truth, I'm not surprised. I am surprised there aren't more accidents out there because of the things I see. So I know we just have to keep trying to do whatever we can, and just, I know you guys are trying, so.
And I thank you, Councilmember Esquer. You're exactly right. It's accountability, and we're all accountable. It can't only be the police department that holds people accountable. 90% of our population are law-abiding citizens. It's that small percentage that creates the issues and creates the hazards for everyone, whether it's repeat offenders or whether it's individuals who don't pay attention. There's one other thing I wanted to cover that wasn't in here. It's in the council's consent calendar in regards to a grant we applied for through the San Joaquin Valley Air Quality Control that covers mobility vehicles, and they're called T3 vehicles. I call them chariots. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department had them back in 2006 when I first saw them, and at that time I thought they were a great item, but there was no way we could afford them. We have the opportunity to get them pretty much free of charge, and I wanted, and Councilmember Esquer, I want to thank you for bringing this up. I wanted to show a little YouTube video on it, and then I'll cut it short just so you have an idea of what it is, but it's a perfect opportunity for community-oriented policing, getting involved with our community. We're coming into the holiday season. We use them at the shopping centers. They have the ability to drive all the way there on their own. We can run them 24/7 because we're getting 2 batteries with each one. We can run them at the parades. We can run them downtown for our extra patrols that will be coming up shortly on an overtime basis. And because they're mobility vehicles, we can also fit them into that traffic grant, because guess what? They can do a little bit of enforcement in the slow travel areas because they're equipped with safety equipment. So can you start it? Because I know I'll mess it up. And then I'll shut it down.
Hey, Stacy, I think you accidentally hit the forward button, so if you want to go back on your page, yeah, up to the upper left hand, yeah, right there. There it is.
Since its 2006 debut, the unique and versatile T3 series has built a reputation as the perfect solution for thousands of law enforcement and private security customers. With 24/7 patrol capabilities, unmatched stability, and unrivaled versatility, T3 Motion's American-made vehicles have become a staple for law enforcement and security agencies around the world. T3 Patroller. Deployed with agencies worldwide, the proven T3 Patroller is the industry's #1 choice. Designed specifically to quickly and efficiently patrol various types of surfaces and terrain, each T3 Patroller works as a force multiplier. Each component of the T3 Patroller has been designed to maximize its limited space and incredible functionality. With front-wheel suspension, the T3 Patroller enables the front-wheel drive to smoothly navigate a range of driving conditions and allows for well-balanced turns. Patented and truly unique for all electric vehicles, the T3 Motion hot swappable battery system allows for 24/7 patrols with limited downtime. And with an array of accessories like a throttle kill switch, lockable storage, towing options, and integrated video recording, the T3 Patroller offers an integrated solution for every departmental need.
Community-oriented policing is great. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from community members, student, faculty, even visitors when they see us on this. Just because we're so exposed on them, it's a nice vehicle just to make conversation. You know, they'll stop us and ask us questions about the T3s, and in return, we'll talk to them. Find out what's going on around in the community. So it's been a great tool for that purpose.
And now, introducing the new T3 Sentry, designed specifically for extensive
just
use
wanted to
in
bring
both
you guys up to
indoor
speed
and
on what it
outdoor
looked like.
environments.
And I didn't want you to see the rest of the advertisement, but you see these in the airports right now. If you go to San Francisco, Dallas, where you see these in the airports, and they're equipped with the lights, sirens, and it's much safer for the officers. Those treks are awesome, but I got to tell you, when you crash on them, it hurts. This, you have a lot of protection. It's got suspension on it, and I could drive them, and I will be driving them.
0 to 25 in how many seconds? What are we looking at?
With me on it?
We're not going there.
We'll be here a long time. But it's on your agenda, but I do want to throw out a caveat. However you folks vote on it, we're going to go on a waiting list. But it's a zero cost. So I'm hoping to get it.
Perfect.
So thank you, and if you don't have any other questions.
Yes, Councilmember
Just
Scarry.
one last comment. I looked at these and they're great. It costs more than my smart car, but it's got better suspension, so I'm okay.
I like it. All right, thanks so much, Chief. Appreciate it. All right, now we're moving on to public participation at 7:30, hour and a half. All right, this time set aside for anyone from the public to address the council on any item. I'd like to thank the Boy Scouts for coming in and earning their merit badge. Appreciate it, guys. Let's start off with our blue cards in the back. Let's start with Diane Bartlett. Come on up. See, I offered you a slot on the library, and that would be way earlier in the agenda, but you prefer still be in public participation. So if you want to take that offer, it's still on the table.
Oh, it is. Okay, we'll have to talk about that.
All right, we'll talk later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name's Diane Bartlett, supervising librarian at the Turlock Library, and I have a couple things to share with you this evening. Today is the last day of our summer reading program, and I wanted to share a story with you from this summer. This is written by Michelle Coxford, our regional children's librarian, and this is written for our Friends of the Library newsletter. "Can I keep this book?" said a young 8-year-old clutching Diary of a Wimpy Kid paperback. "I don't have a book like this at home." Can I keep this book?" whispered another child, a young girl about 7 years old, clutching a paperback. My sister's not here, and she's would really like this one." "Do I have to return this?" yelled another, holding up a paperback copy of Magic Tree House. This was my first summer visiting the Marty Yerby summer camp put on by the city of Turlock. The kids seemed starved for the written word. They swarmed the book bin filled with books donated by the Friends of the Turlock Library and Dee Dee's Discounts. Over and over again, I reassured the children attending the camp program that yes, they could keep the books if they really wanted to, and no, they didn't have to bring them back. The children look forward to Library Day every week, one camp counselor told me. They get so excited when we tell them that today's the day the librarian comes to visit. They love the stories you read to them, and they love picking out books to read. Well, Michelle and Chelsea handed out summer reading logs. They talked about some of the donated books, and they read stories. They returned each week with more prizes, books, and stories, and the kids greeted them enthusiastically each time. And the last day, when Michelle was gathering up her things, one child came up and asked, "Are you coming back and doing this next summer?" Well, that's the kind of story that we like to hear at the library. So thank you so much, City of Turlock, for partnering with us and inviting us to Marty Yerby for this summer. And the second thing I wanted to share is that Thursday, August 17th, We'll be having a meeting regarding the Turlock Library expansion. It's an update meeting as a follow-up to the March 25th meeting, if some of you attended that one. Our city or our county leaders will be sharing with the community the current status of the library expansion. So put on your calendar Thursday, August 17th from 6:30 to 7:30, and we'll be meeting at the Turlock Senior Center. We hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm putting it in my calendar right now. Let's go with Mr. Treeweiler. Come on up. Let's talk about water conservation.
Mayor, council, staff, and citizens. Yes, I'm going to talk about water tonight. It's been a while since I've been up here at the podium, but I think it's time to get back up here and start talking about these important things: water, air, and land use. And tonight, first I want to begin by, I know there was a meeting here last Thursday in this room. It was in this room, correct, Mayor? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And I have seen the review on it, and I will comment about it briefly later. Okay, so I am talking about water conservation. And I'm going to read something that was put out by the City of Modesto Water Conservation Program. Some people in California argue that the drought is over, that water is plentiful, and that there's no cause for concern. People in the Central Valley know better. After 3 years of drought conditions and the reality of a fourth looming over larger, conservation has become a way of life, and so it should be. As our most important renewable resource, it is essential that we protect our perpetual but limited water supply. Conservation will not only reduce water use, it will also help to recharge our existing groundwater supply and save on the cost for future water requirements. That was from the City of Modesto. That was from 1990. What I'm saying is that was 27 years ago that they published this statement right here. Conservation is even more important today than it was back then. Here's actually City of Modesto customer notification, May 2016, surface water delivery, decrease and water conservation targets. City of Modesto surface water allocation deliveries from the Modesto Irrigation District have decreased over the last couple of years from an average of 30 million gallons per day at the lowest, a delivery of 11.6 million gallons per day due to the ongoing drought. This is the drought we just finished, and we don't know when the next one's going to start. But because we've had an average rainfall and a better snowpack in the last hydrological cycle, the MID has now allocated delivery of approximately 25.7 million gallons per day effective May 2016. This allotment remains in effect until April 30th, and of course it's gone up. History: 20 years ago, the City of Modesto invested in a surface water treatment plant, and that, along with increased water conservation efforts, has resulted in less groundwater being withdrawn each year from the aquifer. As a result, the Modesto sub-basin has not suffered overdraft, and this water bank is available for use when they need it. Emphasizing conservation. Emphasizing water. Okay, my body, your body is made up of 60% water. 60% of our bodies is water. And that means, if you look at me, that means that you put 10-gallon jugs of water here. That's how much water I am. It's a vital resource. It's something we all need. It's something we've got to have. And I'm going to get into some concerns, probably not tonight, but I'll bring these back later on. But I'm going to continue here. Climate change. There are still, hopefully not in Turlock. I've given a lot of talks on this subject. I hope everyone in Turlock realizes that climate change is a reality, that it's happening, and that we're not going to be able to get out of it until we actually acknowledge what's going on. In the early 1800s, we began using coal, which produced carbon dioxide plus a lot of other pollutants. But carbon dioxide is the main contributor to global warming. We're trapping the heat from our planet into to our planet. It can't escape into, not the atmosphere, but the space. It can't escape. So there's going to be a lot of things that have to be addressed. All of us produce carbon dioxide, and that's what we have to be careful about. It will never repair itself. We're going to have to face the reality. I'm watching my time over there. We're going to have to face this reality. I did attend a great program back in April. It was put on by the Modesto Area Partners of Science at MJC, and they had a scientist from the Department of Agriculture come down and speak. And basically what he told us is that in 100 years or less, if we continue with our carbon output, our CO2 output, there will be no snow in the Sierras. Conservation is going to have to be the answer to this, and we're going to have to get very serious about it. And I'll continue my talks at a later date. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Trueweller. We appreciate it. And as Director Cook talked about, I think our strategy at the City of Turlock is a multifaceted strategy that involves not only conservation, but also looking for new sources of water for our portfolio. So that's why we're going down this road, the surface water plant. So thank you so much for your input. Mr. Hackler, thanks for coming to the Planning Commission meeting earlier and then sticking around for public comment.
Making it a long night. So I appreciate everything you guys have done, and I feel like the direction the city's really headed in a great direction, and been on that Planning Commission. I think this is my 10th year. So yeah, we've seen a lot of projects and had a lot of fun with them, but definitely have enjoyed the fruits of our comments and direction. So. But I did have something, and my parents always say, you always got to read the fine print. Situation that actually arose that we're actually working on a project, probably the biggest project in downtown Turlock, maybe in the last 30 or 40 years. But we're building a new Turlock walnut plant. And I got something in the mail about 2 weeks ago in regards to part of our conditions of approval, and I actually missed it. But it was in regards to establishing an assessment district. And assessment districts are definitely pretty scary for me. We've done a few in the past that haven't actually worked out that great for me. However, partnering with the City of Turlock hopefully would turn out to a better situation. But it's something that really kind of want to just bring to the council's attention, to you, Mr. Mayor, that I don't foresee that there's going to be a whole lot of redevelopment within this area of the industrial part of downtown Turlock. In regards to assessment districts, we do have a situation that you guys actually have a new water tower and well there that you guys are maintaining actually very well. But the nervousness for us creating an island of an assessment district actually, really what I wanted to talk public comment tonight is to open it to the city to something to think about is that you guys are across the street for me with a beautiful facility. And I'd like, and I think in learning and doing some research within the city today with the engineering staff, and what has triggered us to create our own assessment district really falls in line with that. I'm not sure why when the city did their own project across the street with their water facility, that they didn't create an assessment district at that time to kind of lead the way. And so it's something that we picked up on now. I don't mind being the first one to do it, but I'm kind of feel like I'm a lone ranger in this project. And something that I want to open up to the city, that just something to think about, and I'd be happy to work with staff, which they've been excellent working with me trying to get this project off the ground. So I will comment on one thing is that engineering busted getting through our plans and doing our plan check, but the hardest part of our whole project actually was the fire marshal portion. And it wasn't that he didn't want to get to it, is that he couldn't get to it. And so we talk about economic development, economic growth, but we have to have all those pieces together to make that actually happen. And without having his consent, we couldn't move forward with our project. So I had to bug a little bit and bug some more, and I felt bad about doing that, but we needed to move forward with our project. So I do appreciate Fire Marshal stepping in and helping us with that. But getting back to assessment districts, it's just something that I think that the city, and I don't mind being the first to lead the charge, but I would ask that maybe the city looks at continuing that push that if things redevelop in that area, and I think that, sometimes if you build it, they'll come. Maybe we might be lucky and get some more projects as we staple in downtown Turlock, but it would be also a big help that the city looks at doing that with us.
Absolutely.
So,
No, thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So there's this woman in the back named Debbie. I don't know if you've met
I
her
do know
before.
her.
Yeah. No, I'm teasing. But no,
Yes.
I think that's good because I'm also curious too, and just trying to kind of look at some of the reasonings why. I mean, we don't have to do it now, but maybe if you want to gather your information, send an email to us as council, and then get with Mr. Hackler about why our project didn't have an assessment district, and then similarly to get some comments from you about the behind the scenes about the fire marshal. Again, it's about a taxing of his
balance.
time, exactly, and just looking at that, I think that's really important. So
yeah, no, I really appreciate it, and like I said, it'd be something that you guys are doing a great job maintaining it now, but as an owner in that parcel, I want to make sure that I'm not, as of right now, I'm going to be supporting 100% of that assessment. And so, because I'm the only one in the district, I got a nice ballot that I can vote on it, but if I decline it, then I can't finish my project.
Right.
And so I went in today and said, well, how many other people are voting on this? You're the only one. So
that's the
that
type
was-
of mayor's race I
Yeah.
want. Actually, yeah, sounds pretty
So it's
good.
news to me. I'm like, well, what if they vote no? Well, there's no one else voting, so I got to vote yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it goes into a larger thing that I talked about earlier this year was about some neighborhoods, and this is kind of a tangent to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Was some neighborhoods that want to become assessment districts and how they go about doing that, because there's some older neighborhoods that would like to bring their roads up to a certain standard, lighting. up to a
Yeah, and
certain
that's one last point that I'd like to make is that part of that assessment district it also includes bringing the road up to a certain level with maintenance. However, our roads are not capable of being maintained. There's no road there unless we get a 4-wheel drive street sweeper, and I don't know where you're going to put slurry sill, but according to the way that assessment district is established, it's assessing and maintaining a brand new parcel on the northwest part of town. And so, or northeast part of town. Doing that in downtown Turlock, it's pointless. So it's just really some food for thought.
No, absolutely. This sparks a really good conversation, and actually, I'm curious to see the answers. And then maybe if you and I'd like to sit down with you and
Sure.
talk, and then maybe with staff. I think it'd be a good constructive conversation.
Great, thank you.
No, thank you so much.
All right.
All right. So for those watching, there's no special treatment for planning commissioners at this city council. That's right, making you wait. Anyone else from the audience like to address the council on any topic that they would like? All right. With that, I'll close public participation. Moving on to motion waiving reading of all ordinances on the agenda except by title. We have a motion by Councilmember Bublak, seconded by Vice Mayor Dehart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Waiving reading of all ordinances on the agenda except by title. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Declaration of conflicts of interest and disqualifications. Looking left, looking right, seeing none. Disclosure of top 10 maximum contributors can be found in our agenda online and in the hard copy. Consent calendar. Final readings. Clerk, what do we have?
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. I blew through that. Do we need a motion and a second on that for the record? Should be fine.
Thank you. For the ordinance, we did have one on July 25th, but
Perfect.
it would be good to have one for the resolution since it was just reviewed at the first meeting, and this will be the first time that we're actually doing a motion.
Introduce the resolution.
Perfect.
Second.
There it is. All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Bullock, seconded by Vice Mayor Dehart. Clerk, please call the roll one more time.
Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Appreciate it. All right, moving on, public hearings. A request to order the improvements and formation of the classic subdivision landscaping and lighting benefit assessment district in the street maintenance benefit assessment area. Mr. Pitcock.
The item before you is the formation of the Classic Subdivision District, as you stated. The Classics subdivision will occupy the southerly 4.9 acres of the existing 9.7 acre parcel, which is located on the southeast corner of Johnson and Tuolumne. The subdivision is a single cul-de-sac. It will include 20 single-family units and one remainder lot. The remainder lot will continue to be used as the existing church. The homes will be a mix of single-story and two-story single-family homes. The Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972 and the Benefit Assessment Act of 1982 allow for the formation of assessment districts and benefit assessment areas. The purpose of the districts are to ensure that development pays for its own maintenance, for operation of streetlights, landscaping, street sweeping, drainage facilities in this case, and future sewer seals. And I'll bring attention to the drainage facilities with the new MS4 requirements. There's some on-site retention requirements for the road itself. So there's some large French drainage system that we're going to have to maintain over the life of the project. So we've included those costs to the assessment district. Be happy to answer any questions you may have on this project.
All right, any questions or comments for Director Pitcock from the council? All right, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone from the audience? All right, bringing it back. What's the pleasure of the council?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Jacob, seconded by Councilmember Bublak. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ordering the improvements and formation of the Classic Subdivision Development Project Number 1678, Landscaping and Lighting Benefit Assessment District, and the Street Maintenance Benefit Assessment Area, and confirming the diagram and benefit assessments as set forth in the annual report of the Engineer of Work, and the levying and collection of assessments set forth therein for fiscal year 2017-2018 for the Classic Subdivision Development Project Number 1678, Landscaping and Lighting Benefit Assessment District, and the Street Maintenance Benefit Assessment Area pursuant to Resolution Number 97128. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisette.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item B, request to supersede and replace resolution number 2016-108 and adopt updated cost recovery percentages in the schedule of fees and charges for city services. Hey Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. Good evening. I'm glad to be back on YouTube. Hoping to earn my second like. So.
Well played.
Carlo liked me on. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. And that is for everyone to know that we are on YouTube Live. So that was really to also bring that up for anybody out there that we run it live and then it's available out there. So I'm not sure how many views we have, but I know I have a like.
All right.
So the item before you is the annual update to adopt the cost recovery percentages in the schedule of fees for the charges for the city services. It includes recreational services, and this is all pursuant to the Turlock Municipal Code. Annually, city staff from the various departments who have their fees on here, they review them and they look at whether there is any increased cost or not in providing this service. And then this is updated and the recommended changes are brought before the council. On attachment A and B, that contains your list of the services, shows the recovery percentage and the fee for each one of those items. Obviously, the strike-throughs of text are the ones that are recommended to be deleted, and the underlines are the additions. So I'll go through real quickly because even though this is a long document, there wasn't really a whole lot of changes. So one thing is you'll notice throughout the document we're replacing fully burdened hourly rate, which is FBHR, with PHR, which is productive hourly rate. Footnote 6 explains that change in case anybody's would like to see that. You'll need your reading glasses. There are no recommended changes in fees or cost recovery percentages for administrative services, neighborhood services, citywide services, engineering services, finance, fire, or transit services. Municipal services is where there are starts the increases on page 6 and 7. That's basically because of the cost to provide those services, and you'll see those on there. Basically, the man hours that it takes to provide those services. Planning does have some changes, and it's approximately about 10%, and that is based on the fact that they have about a 10% increase in their staffing costs. The police department has recommended the removal of some fees, basically because the services are no longer provided by the department, so the fee doesn't need to be on there. And attachment B contains all the recreation, park services, including rentals. That was updated, and there are changes due to the increase in minimum wage and the cost of program supplies, because nothing ever seems to be cheaper. And so you'll see the recommended increases, which basically cover the cost to run the program. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for Kelly? Any questions or comments? I'll open the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the audience? Bringing it back, what's the pleasure of the council?
Advance B.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, second by Councilmember Scare. Clerk, please call the roll.
Superseding and replacing Resolution Number 2016-108 and adopting updated cost recovery percentages and the schedule of fees and charges for city services to include city recreational services pursuant to Turlock Municipal Code Section 33301 et sec. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thanks so much,
Thank you.
Kelly. All right, this is a controversial one. Request to amend Turlock Municipal Code Title 6, Chapter 1, Article 7, Section 5 regarding retail sale of dogs and cats to replace the word chapter with the word article. Go for it. Chief.
This is going, that's all it is. It's a change of one word.
I know.
One word. So I'm available for any questions. So
Nice.
I can call Glenn up
That's
here.
our record, yeah. All right, I'll open the public hearing on this. Can please line up, take a blue card, and all right, seeing none, I'm bringing it back to the council. What is? Oh, there it is. Do I have a second? Second. All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, second by Councilmember Jacob. Clerk, please call the roll.
Introducing an ordinance amending Turlock Municipal Code Title 6, Chapter 1, Article 7, Section 05 regarding retail sale of dogs and cats to replace the word chapter with the word article and setting the final reading date for September 12, 2017. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you so much. For the Turlock Journal, that's your headline for tomorrow. Scheduled matters. There's a green sheet for item 8A, a request to determine the closure for the Feast of Our Lady of Assumption Procession Celebration hosted by Sacred Heart Catholic Church is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act and approve the special event permit application and authorize the associated street closure and authorize the city manager to apply appropriate conditions and restrictions on the street closure. Amber, how are you?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me this evening. On July 7th, the Parks, Recreation, and Public Facilities Department received a special event application for Sacred Heart Catholic Church to host the Our Lady of Assumption Celebration Procession. The event application did include a street closure request. The event is proposed to take place August 15th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The requested street closure is for portions of Canal Drive. The proposed procession will travel on West Cooper Avenue, south on Rose Street, east on Cahill, north on Bell Street, west on Lyons Avenue, and conclude at Sacred Heart Church, which is 1200 Lyons Avenue. City of Turlock Special Events Committee has reviewed this application, and City of Turlock Traffic Engineering has reviewed the route requested. Property owners directly affected by this closure have been notified of the event and of tonight's public hearing. In response to that public notification, staff has received feedback from concerned community members. You will find 2 letters on the dais this evening which have been green sheeted for this evening's meeting. These letters both are in opposition of the closure, expressing concerns regarding the disruption to the residents the procession causes, the congestion, included being blocked within their own driveways by participants of the procession, as well as traffic the procession causes. Staff has also received a phone call from a concerned citizen. Her concern was mainly with the closure and the time frame of it being 5 to 7 p.m. That is when residents will be returning home and may not be able to access their own driveways because of that closure. She also had concerns regarding the noise the procession creates by both procession participants, as well as the disruption that it causes within the neighborhoods and the animals becoming excited as that amount of people walk by. A representative from Sacred Heart is here with us this evening to answer any questions, and I would also be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Amber. Any questions or comments for Amber at this point? All right, is there someone from Sacred Heart here that would like to please come forward? Amber does a great job of laying everything out, but I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add, or if the council has any questions for you. Would you like?
No, just, I just want to thank you to give me the opportunity to be here. Are there any questions for me?
Do you guys have any questions? Yes, Councilmember Scare.
Just a quick question. How long has this event been going on?
For approximately 20 years.
20 years. The same route?
The route was altered a little bit from prior to, it was shortened actually.
Okay, shortened. Okay, thank you. All right. Any additional questions from the audience for, sorry, what was your last name?
Rocha.
Rocha, for Ms. Rocha. All right. Anyone in the audience like to address the council on this item? Yes, Mr. Trueweiler. Thank you.
I just want to say, come on, citizens, let's get with it. This is a once-a-year type thing. I mean, I live across the street from Osborne School. I get blocked out of my driveway. It's no big deal. You just park someplace else and come back later. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Trueweiler. Anybody else from the audience like to address the council on this item? All right, I'll close public participation and bring it back to, yes, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Treewaller. I would like to speak on behalf of the people at Green Sheeted. This council, this community undertook a process some time ago to close the street for the exclusive and sole use of the church. And at a time when that's now been affected, there is no more access down that street by members of the community. We now have a request come before us that basically on the other side of the fence of the same road that we have just closed, we are now asking for permission to transit on the other side of that fence in ceremonial fashion. And it just seems to me there'd be something a little bit incongruent here with respect to our position, the event itself, and our citizens that live on the other side of that fence. And so I speak for, the green sheet is the first I've heard of any opposition, but it makes sense. When you give and when you give and when you give and when you give and there's no get in return, it just seems a little bit excessive to me. I'm all for religious celebration and honoring, but this just seemed to me to be a little bit excessive. I do support Sacred Heart Church, but this particular event, whether it's once a year or 365 days a year, just seems to me to be a bit excessive to the residents that live in the area, especially considering the concerns that have been expressed. It's not just cars in driveway, it's blocking alleys where their garages happen to be. And so we've got, I think, an issue that needs to at least be addressed more than just with a perfunctory vote here on this panel.
Any additional comments or questions? Yeah, Councilmember Scare.
Yes, I was looking at the green sheet, and I had concern with the alley portion, but I would assume that if there was cars being parked in the alley illegally, I would assume that the police department would be contacted and that would be addressed. So just like any other item or event, if it's a citable offense, I think that's automatic. We have to take care of that. As far as the actual event, what they're asking for, I think it's been a long-standing event, and I don't see why we need to be changing the rules in the middle.
Yeah, Vice Mayor.
And just one last comment. We now have an entire street that's been closed off for the exclusive use of Sacred Heart Church. Why don't we walk up one side and turn around and walk down the other?
Any additional comments on this?
Introduce the resolution.
All right, okay, we introduced the resolution. Do I have a second on that one?
Second.
All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Bulak, seconded by Councilmember Scare. Did you want to say anything more?
No,
Okay, perfect. I did want to just mention that I'm glad that the first paragraph of the green sheet, the first sentence says, "Thank you for finally establishing a process of event requests." I think that it is important that we notify our neighbors that are affected and the businesses that are affected, and that's why we have green sheets, I think. Catching people off guard is not something we're trying to do, and I think I do echo the sentiments of Councilmember Scare on this one. This longstanding event that I think is a tradition, and I know you'll work hard to communicate and educate the entire community about when this happens and try and hopefully have them embrace this longstanding tradition. So with that, clerk, please call the roll.
Determining the closure of North Rose Street between Cooper Avenue and Cahill Avenue. Cahill Avenue between North Rose Street and Bell Street. Bell Street between Cahill Avenue and Lyons Avenue. And Lyons Avenue between Bell Street and Oak Street for the Feast of Our Lady of Assumption Procession Celebration hosted by Sacred Heart Catholic Church is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, in accordance with Section 15304, minor alterations to land of the CEQA guidelines. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart?
I supported the original issue, and I reluctantly support this issue, but I think with special consideration being given in some form to the neighborhood. Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soiseth?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. And
Here's the second resolution.
there it is. Second. Do I have a second? Second. All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Bublak, second by Councilmember Scare. Clerk, please call the roll for the second resolution.
Approving the special event permit application for the Feast of Our Lady of Assumption Procession Celebration hosted by Sacred Heart Catholic Church, authorizing the associated closure of North Rose Street between Cooper Avenue and Cahill Avenue, Cahill Avenue between North Rose Street and Bell Street, Bell Street between Cahill Avenue and Lyons Avenue Avenue between Bell Street and Oak Street for pedestrian safety on Tuesday, August 15th, 2017, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and authorizing the city manager to apply appropriate conditions and restrictions on the street closure. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart?
With the same consideration, yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soiseth?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming down tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and council members.
Absolutely appreciate it. All right, moving on to item B, a request to determine the closure for Turlock High School to host the Turlock High School Homecoming Parade is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, approve a special event permit application, authorize the associated street closure, and authorize the city manager to apply appropriate conditions and restrictions on that street closure. Amber.
I'm still here. On June 20th, the Parks, Recreation, and Public Facilities Department received a special application for Turlock High School to host their annual homecoming parade. If you'll remember, last year we worked with the applicant to create kind of a hybrid closure, accommodating the downtown corridor as well as the surrounding neighborhoods, and then the parade got rained out on that day, so they didn't actually get to hold that parade. The event is proposed to take place this year on September 29th from 2:30 to 4 p.m. and the street closure includes portions of Canal Drive, Main Street, Center Street, Crane Avenue, and Minaret Avenue. As I mentioned, in an effort to minimize the impact to the downtown corridor and surrounding neighborhoods, we are proposing to use that same route that was created last year with the hybrid street closure in effect. This, as a result of this, we're hoping that no intersection will be closed for any longer than 30 minutes. The proposed parade route will start on Berkeley Avenue, travel west on eastbound Canal Drive, south on Main Street, east on Center Street, north on Crane Street, north on Minaret, north on Main, and conclude on Berkeley Avenue. The City of Turlock Special Event Committee has reviewed this application. City of Turlock Traffic Engineering has reviewed the route request, and property owners directly affected by the route have been notified of the event and this evening's public hearing. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Question and comments for Amber? Question and comments from the audience on this item? All right, bringing it back to council. What's the pleasure of the council on this one? Advance it in a second. All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Jacob, seconded by Councilmember Bublak. Clerk, please call the roll.
Determining the closure of portions of Canal Drive, Main Street, Center Street, Crane Avenue, and Minaret Avenue for Turlock High School to host the Turlock High School Homecoming Parade is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, in accordance with Section 15304, minor alterations to land of the CEQA guidelines. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. And what's the pleasure of the council on the second resolution? There it is. Sorry, we have a second. So we have a motion by Councilmember Jacob, second by Councilmember Bublak. Please call the roll.
Approving a special event permit application for the Turlock High School Homecoming Parade hosted by Turlock High School, authorizing the associated closure of portions of Canal Drive, Main Street, Center Street, Crane Avenue, and Minaret Avenue for pedestrian safety on Friday, September 29, 2017, from 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m., and authorizing the city manager to apply appropriate conditions and restrictions on the street closure. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thanks so much. All right, moving on. Request to rescind resolution number 2016-208 and adopting a new resolution approving updates to the City of Turlock special event permit application, adopted fees, and proposed policies for event applications. Director Van Gilder.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you is, has been an item we've been anticipating bringing forward as part of our ongoing effort to refine this process as we experience various issues and as we learn more about what works well and maybe what doesn't work so well. And so we hope that you will be receptive to some of the changes that we're proposing tonight. In the staff report, you'll see that we listed out 12 key items that we think are necessary in order to enhance the process. Most of them, admittedly, are more housekeeping items or things that we thought should be clarified based on experiences that we've had with our applicants. I thought you might find it interesting that since last September, the City of Turlock has approved 29 special events in our community. Of those, 16 involved street closures, 13 did not. And all combined, we estimate that they brought in about 35,000 people, not necessarily just from outside the community, but just 35,000 people attended these various events. So I share that with you because I know that at different points it's felt a little bit laborious in terms of some of the issues that we've brought before you. But I will say that I think that now that we've had some experience with this process, one of the things that we are proposing council to consider is changing the fact that if an event does not involve a street closure, that you designate that approval process to your city manager or his or her designee, so that we might be able to streamline this a little bit more. One thing I will emphasize though, and as we've heard from our constituents, your constituents tonight, is that that will not take the place of the public hearing process. Even if an event does not have a street closure, we will still go through a process to notify the impacted property owners in the area. The public hearing just won't take place at a council meeting. It'll take place at a designated, city hall location, date, time, place, all of that included, so that we can get that feedback. And once we know if there's an issue or there's significant concern that we think needs to be brought to council, we have that option to do so. And so I think it's important to just emphasize that part. The other key recommendation that we are asking is based on our recent experience with the Turlock Pentecost Association. It was very much recognized that that's one of those annual events that travels along Main Street that council clearly supported. And so as you know, as part of the application, we have a variety of annual traditional events that you have approved in terms of closing Main Street. And so we'd like to recommend that that particular event also be added to that list so that it's very clear, given that particular event's history in the community, that that is one of those events that we deem appropriate in terms of closing Main Street. The fact that it also falls on a Sunday obviously plays a huge role in that because of its the lack of impact on downtown businesses. Moving through the list, I'd like to bring your attention to number 11. This is a recent recommendation from our Risk Management Association. Currently, we will require that applicants provide a $1 million liability requirement for their event. And what's recently come across is, I think we can all agree that $1 million doesn't get you very far these days, especially if you're talking about an event with a significant incident that occurs, accident, injury, things of that nature. So this recommendation is being put forth that we require a $2 million limit. There is the recognition that we may need to work with some of our applicants, particularly our nonprofit groups who may have challenges with having a policy of that level. But I've had conversations with our city attorney, and we're going to, we can work with the various groups in order to achieve the goal that we're looking for in terms of protecting the city. And then number 12, I've already touched on it. That has to do with property owner notification. And what we're doing there is we had approached this issue as far as notifying the affected property owners. We had delegated that responsibility to the applicants. And it was kind of an honor system. We gave them a form letter, we put the date of the event and the public hearing and all of that, and it was mailed out. We did have some challenges where we got feedback where it caused some concern that maybe those notices weren't always reaching the property owners. And so it's our recommendation that that particular task be done by city staff, essentially putting those letters out into the mail, making sure that that box gets checked, but the applicant will still be responsible for the cost of the postage for that. It's a cost that we believe is, it's part of the process to make sure that we have the opportunity for all affected property owners to participate in the conversation. There's one item that's not listed here. It sort of evolved after this item got put together, but in the original application, there used to be a reference to sidewalk sales. And we have had some conversations with our downtown businesses and our Downtown Property Owners Association about sidewalk sales and the fact that we were utilizing this process in order to permit those. We've heard a lot of feedback that this may not be the appropriate documentation, process to permit sidewalk sales. And I agree with them. It does not make sense to charge somebody a business $150 to have a sidewalk sale, in my opinion. What I would ask council to consider tonight is support our recommendation to remove that reference from this particular document. I'm working actively with my staff in obtaining information from other communities on how they manage their sidewalk sales. The good news is this really is, for all intents and purposes, a non-issue. We don't have problems with sidewalk sales. And so it's not something that needs to be figured out tonight. I think we have enough information at this point that we'll be able to bring a recommendation to council very soon on how to move forward. But I think the whole message I'm trying to give you in regard to sidewalk sales is, do they need to be monitored, managed? Yeah, we do have to have some guidelines in place. And I think the downtown businesses and the downtown property owners, if you have questions or comments, I'd be happy to entertain those.
Any questions or comments for Director Van Gilder? Any questions or comments from the audience? Pretty straightforward. Bringing it back to the council, what is the pleasure of the council? All right.
Second.
There it is. Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Jacobs, seconded by Vice Mayor DeHart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Rescinding resolution number 2016-208 and adopting a new resolution approving updates to the City of Turlock special event permit application, adopted fees, and proposed policies for event applications received on or after August 8, 2017. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Thanks, Allison. Moving on, request to oppose proposed amendments to conditions of approval number 35 and number 73 of County Use Permit 2012-0017, Dan Avila and Sons, and authorize the city manager to transmit the city council's action to Stanislaus County. Debbie, how are you?
Good evening, Mayor Soiseth, members of the council. The item before you tonight is one of those county referrals that we discussed at the earlier workshop. Dan Avila and Sons is requesting an amendment to a use permit that was approved back in 2016. The number on that is 2012-17. Just to give you a little background on the project is being constructed on two properties that are located west of the city limit. It is adjacent to North Washington Road, which is a street that is within the city limit of the city of Turlock. Just to give you a little background on the history of this project, Mr. Avila has been working for some time to get authorization for a warehouse at this location. Back in 2009, he made the same application and described the project as a 180,000 square foot warehouse for potatoes and watermelons farmed in Stanislaus and Merced counties. At that time, staff met with Mr. Avila. The city had requested, as part of that application, the payment of impact fees and for improvements to North Washington Road. The comment letter sought more information on the potential environmental impacts of the project, and we met with Mr. Avila to discuss the conditions of approval. That application did not move forward to approval, but in 2011, Mr. Avila again applied for the warehouse approval. Again, the city made the request for the payment of fees and improvements to North Washington Road. And again, we met with Mr. Avila to discuss the conditions of approval. During that process, there was interest by the applicant to have the conditions sort of narrowed down onto what the exact improvements would be for the property, and there was some agreement as to how to move forward. In September 2012, the county conducted a nuisance abatement on the property for non-permitted construction and grading in connection with the trucking operations of the business. And then in October 2012, the applicant again filed for the approval of the 180,000 square foot warehouse. At that time, the county required the preparation of an environmental impact report, presumably to address some of the issues that we raised, as well as additional issues that the county had regarding the project. Then in June 2016, the County Planning Commission approved use permit 2012-17 with the conditions that the city requested, requiring the payment of city transportation, police, and fire fees, as well as frontage improvements to city standards. The project approved, this gives you an overview of the project that was approved, the 180,000 square foot warehouse. The property is zoned agriculture. The produce that Mr. Avila envisions storing in the facility are watermelon, sweet potatoes, typical products here in Stanislaus County and other counties in the vicinity. He assumes that he will have up to 75 employees on the site at any one time. The hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but could be 24 hours during the peak season, and he's expected to generate about 817 daily trips with 70 truck deliveries and loadings during his peak season. This is a site plan of the site currently. You have an existing office, storage, and truck scale in this location, an existing house, and you have existing barns that have been utilized as part of the existing trucking operation. Again, this is an aerial view of the property as it currently exists. You can see it located directly across from the Blue Diamond processing facility. This just gives you some idea of what the property looks like from the street. So this is looking southbound from the Blue Diamond signal, northbound. This is looking into the current trucking operation and some of the farming operations that are going on the property. The proposed site plan for the conditional use permit involves a significant expansion. You can see the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 buildings, which will total 180,000 square feet. The applicant is looking to build that in 3 phases. I believe one of the conditions that he is requesting some flexibility in is exactly what those phases would be, when they would be constructed, and the size of that. The city has no real objection to modifying the phasing strategy, but it has to do more with our conditions of approval that we've requested. So this shows the project superimposed on an aerial. You can see that the main entrance to the facility will be directly across from the trucking entrance for the Blue Diamond facility, with the intention that the 2 entrances be coordinated with a single signal. The required improvements based on this site plan, we have received an application for an encroachment permit from the applicant. This shows the improvements that are required on the property owner's side of North Washington Road. Essentially, the improvements that the city is requiring mirror the requirements that we have for the Blue Diamond facility. So you're seeing deceleration, acceleration lanes, bike lanes, curb gutter, sidewalk, those types of improvements that are typically required. The applicant is requesting the amendment of several conditions to the permit. The ones that are most relevant to the city of Turlock are conditions of approval 35 and 36 and 73. Again, these have to do with the frontage improvements and the payment of citywide impact fees. This is the actual strikeout and modification addition that is being proposed by the applicant. The strikeout that is above that was actually a change that was made as part of the County Planning Commission's action. At the time, there was a provision that really didn't address the city of Turlock standards. The city requested the modification that is in black in the strikeout portions as part of the public hearing process with the county, again to reiterate that the improvements needed to be made to city standard. The applicant is now requesting that the condition go back really to the original language with a couple of modifications and a specific restriction on the irrevocable offer of dedication to the northernmost parcel and excluding the southern parcel. So the concerns that we have is that the proposed amendments would limit the right-of-way dedications for the property and possible improvements to the northern parcel only. It's not real clear, but that's the interpretation that I've received from county staff. And it does remove the language about the applicant needing to meet city standards with regard to those improvements. One of the things to note is that the southern parcel is being used as part of the project, and it does include the packing and repair maintenance facility that is in the areas that are currently being used more for agricultural use at the current time. The city condition really doesn't require frontage improvements outside the area of development. As you saw with the depiction, the improvements are immediately in front of the area where the proposed warehouse will be installed. With the exception of the deceleration and acceleration lanes, these do extend beyond the limits of the development area, but those improvements are intended to address traffic safety. Just like with Blue Diamond, we did require this because trucks tend to decelerate very slowly and accelerate very slowly, so this allows for that merge and diverge to occur on North Washington Road. The improvements that are being requested are similar to those that we've required of development within the city. You can see this with Valley Milk, with U.S. Cold Storage. Blue Diamond has these types of requirements for their project. And really, we don't have funds that are set aside to pay for these improvements at a later date. We do have the ability for us to require that developers make these improvements at the time of development, which is what we do through the conditions of approval. But really kind of coming back and then installing those improvements for a developer after the fact, there really isn't any funding available to do that. One of the concerns that the applicant has had is the potential requirement for improvements to the canal crossing, which is located to the south on this kind of, it's on the southern edge of the parcel to the south. And he is concerned that we're going to require that he improve the canal. Based on the current application that he submitted in the site plan, the improvements are limited. The canal is really located further to the south. This is actually kind of more of a, you have to kind of go this way to go north-south. But you can see the two parcels, the northern parcel and the southern parcel. The improvements that are being required by the city at this time, and again based on this site plan, would not require improvements to the canal. We've kind of maintained the flexibility within the current condition of approval that should the site plan change, and there are provisions in the county code for modifications to be made to a site plan for an approved conditional use permit, those improvements could change. And so the city has written the condition in such a way that should the site plan be modified, that perhaps improvements to the canal may be necessary to accommodate things like the acceleration and deceleration lanes. But at this point, this is the limit of the requirement that's being requested by, or being required by the city. The second set of conditions is 73. The applicant has requested that the condition be modified to only require the payment of the West Side Industrial Specific Plan, Transportation and Police and Fire impact fees, and to have these based on a traffic study that was prepared by Katie Anderson. The difficulty here is that the WISP fees don't include these types of infrastructure improvements. Those are collected through our citywide fees. So I think part of this was just Mr. Avila didn't really understand where we collect these fees and how they're determined, and they're part of our capital facility fee program. The idea of using the fair share cost that's based on the traffic study is difficult for staff to support, in that the scope of the traffic study really is too narrow to fully assess the impacts of the project. And it really kind of assumes that the projects that are in the capital facility fee program are already in place. So without the project being one of many that is contributing to the payment of those fees, of those improvements, it would be difficult for the city to have the funding necessary to make those improvements. Both the traffic study and the environmental impact report require the payment of fees. They also require that the improvements be made to city standard, and these measures are actually used to mitigate the traffic impacts of the project. So it's very important that those conditions be carried through into any implementation of the project. So just in summary, the applicant is requesting relief from the city's conditions of approval that are required to mitigate the impacts of the project on the city's transportation system and police and fire services. And I think you heard earlier from our chief that the city does respond to fire incidences in other cities. City police do the same thing. We have mutual aid agreements that require that we provide these services, and we do so on a fairly regular basis. The city has established conditions of approval that are equivalent to those required for any other business. We're not requiring more or less than what we would require of a business here in the city. The approval of the county use permit is based on an environmental impact report that assumed the applicant would abide by these conditions of approval to mitigate the traffic impacts of the project, and that the failure to implement these improvements and pay the fees effectively invalidates the findings of the project's EIR. And this is kind of the focus of the staff comments to date, is really focusing on the adequacy of the environmental determination that was made for the project. At a minimum, we would expect that this project would have to go back through the environmental impact report process prior to any kind of modification of the conditions. And then county policy, and this is reiterated a little bit better in your staff report, is that county policy supports the application of city standards to projects within 1 mile of the city limit. In their report to the County Planning Commission, the county staff pointed out that the project would be required to make the improvements consistent with city standards. We are asking for a recommendation opposing or an action opposing the proposed changes to the county use permit. Staff has prepared a letter that is largely technical in nature, but in taking a position to oppose these types of changes, we felt it necessary to seek city council guidance. The second option that you have is to support the proposed changes to the county use permit, or through any other recommendation that you might want to make, and then authorize the city manager to transmit the city council's actions to the county. And to report, the Planning Commission did unanimously recommend that the City Council oppose the proposed changes to these conditions of approval. So with that, I'll conclude my
Any
remarks.
questions or comments for Debbie on this? All right, any questions or comments from the audience? I assume Mr. Avila
Mr. Avila is in the
is here.
audience.
Would you like to address the council on this? Good evening.
I think, probably about the only problem we really have right now is the canal crossing, and me being on the hook for that in the future. If there's any development really that way. Maybe I guess if we were to extend our, maybe put in another driveway, and then there was a set of acceleration lanes that would cause, then the canal be widened. And the position pretty much I've taken on the canal crossing is I just really wanted to just really pay for really kind of what my share was of it, in the event that it was widened. And the rest of everything else, I mean, as far as the rest of the conditions, I think we've got pretty much, you know, a set of fees, you know, depending on what the encroachment fees come, the permit for that, what it comes in at. We have pretty much a set of fees that I can work with for the most part. The CFF fees and that. The right-of-way that's being extended onto that southern parcel, we're gonna give that over. That was in the EIR. So that dedication is being written now. Now it's just the canal, really. Yeah, and what, the opposition I have with it. You know, because really the problem is in that condition, it says fully construct, all the improvements, and the canal crossing. And that canal crossing, I mean, there's quite a bit of power that goes through their electricity. I mean, it could be, I don't know, 500,000, you know, and that's in today's rates, but, you know, I didn't think really it was my responsibility. Which, you know, there's already so much that we're contributing as far as the improvements that are done within the city right away, and the giving of the right of way itself. Yeah, so that pretty much sums it up. I mean, you're all gonna vote how you see fit. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Avila.
Okay.
Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Avila, just a quick question. So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that you understand that we're going to vote to oppose, and you're okay with that?
Well, I'm not okay with it, but I can't stop you from voting, can I?
Now, are you going to try? See, the reality of what I'm facing is that we can't pick and choose between what is or what is not acceptable. I mean, we either support or we oppose. And part of the challenge that I'm faced with right now is I'm saying to myself, hey, somewhere down the line, if you decide to do something on your property that doesn't involve a right-of-way and begins to encroach on that canal, you don't want to be responsible for it from the standpoint of.
Well, not the full improvement. You know, just really my share of it. What would be my share of, you know, the added traffic that I would add to the situation to the road? You know, as to that, what was determined.
So how would that be parsed out? Walk me through that process.
How would it be parsed out? I mean, right now, I think my traffic study covers about probably 2 to 3% of the traffic that covers on that road. And that's at 817 trips. Really, my actual trip number is only about 160, I believe, 170. That 817 is a number that the county used originally, but and what's supported in the IT manual. But my actual numbers, no way that, because it's only a seasonal operation. The sweet potatoes too, they only go into storage one time, and then they're shipped from there. The square footage of the warehouse isn't turned over, like what normally warehousing would be.
Well, I love sweet potatoes.
Yeah, they're good food.
You can tell. But the opportunity, the challenge that I'm facing here is I'm sitting here trying to parse out what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what are we voting on, and I'm frankly faced with the challenge of I've got to oppose, but I don't understand the interaction with the canal. And if all of a sudden you decide you want to do something else, and we've got.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay, you'll get over it.
Well, I was going to say, you know, in the event that, say we did build there, say the bill was 500,000, well, my percentage, when we consider the traffic, is, about 3%? So, what is that, maybe 25,000 or so would be my portion.
Okay.
You know.
Thank you, Mr. Avila.
You know, that's really kind of what I had more of an envision of, as far as costs. Yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council. What is the pleasure of the council on this item?
Mayor, I'd move the motion opposing the proposed amendments.
Do I have a second? All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, seconded by Councilmember Scarrett. Clerk, please call the roll.
Opposing proposed amendments to conditions of approval number 35 and number 73 of County Use Permit 2012-0017, Dan Avila and Sons, and authorizing the city manager to transmit the city council's action to Stanislaus County. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much, staff. Thank you so much, Mr. Avila. All right, moving on, matters for the agenda, not agenda items, looking at the interim city manager and city attorney, seeing none. Council items for future consideration, looking left and right, seeing none. Council comments, looking left and right, seeing none. Closed session, city attorney, what do we have up for us?
Thank you, Mayor. The council's gonna adjourn to closed session to consider items 12A, B, C, and D on all the relevant information set forth on the agenda itself.
All right, thank you so much. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn open session? Not everyone at once. We have a motion by Councilmember Bublak, second by Councilmember Scare. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned to closed session. Thank you. Thank you.